Hey everybody, it's Sam here and I'm going to show you how to make this large desk storage. So I have a really handy kind of like Lazy Susan. It's actually from the Pampered Chef. It's in my craft room tour and it says brushes on it, and that's where I've been holding all of my scissors, pokey tools, all that kind of stuff, but it all gets lost and it gets kind of just tangled up with each other, and I would get really frustrated, especially when I'm filming tutorials. I would have to edit so many sections out because I'm trying to find the tool that I need. So I wanted something that I could sit right in front of me, so it literally just sits there just off camera and everything is visible. So I have all these different little sections where I have my scissors, all of the piercing tools, pokey tools, rulers. Along the tray here I have like my eraser, my embossing buddy and things like that. I'm going to fill it up again in a moment just so you can see exactly how much this holds. It's a really easy one to make smaller. You don't have to have all of these sections. These are all separate pieces of chipboard or greyboard, so you can really customize this for the products and the tools that you have. It's a really strong piece. I've got this lovely pattern paper all over, and then I've covered all of the edges with some glitter. So the colours and the glitter and all the sparkle just fits in my craft room perfectly. But you can obviously decorate this however you want. Like I said, you don't have to have it as wide as this, as long as this, as high as this. It's very easy. Once you see how I'm making it, you can adapt this to any size you want. So I'm just going to put everything else back in it so you can quickly see how it looks full. So that's everything now in here. So I've got my rulers at the very back, and then I've got some nail files there because I use them for distressing. I've got sparkle pens, my electric eraser, then I've got my burnishing tools here, cutting knives, all of my scissors, the larger ones, and then here I've got all my pens together, all of like the scoring tools, pokey tools, smaller snips, and then my glue. So I've got everything, you know, it fits perfectly in these little sections. I've got the smaller glue bottles, and then in the tray here I've just got washi and eraser. And just sometimes when you just have that one thing and you're like, oh, I'll put it away later, you can just kind of dump it in here. But it is just perfect, and it doesn't take up too much space because obviously it's longer, so it fits really nicely. Like I said, it's just off camera. It's actually a little bit further back as well, but just being able now to see this, and because it's tiered, everything's visible. And I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, and I wish I'd done it sooner because it's making everything just quick for me to grab that, and I'm just not going to have to edit my videos so much, so it's really going to make a difference. So let's get into the tutorial. It's pretty straightforward to make. Let me show you how. So this is the 2mm Greyboard, and I buy this from Amazon. I think I get packs of 10. I've shared them in past storage tutorials. They'll be linked in the description box below this video, and they're also on my Amazon storefront. This is the A3 length, and I'm going to keep this length, so I'm not cutting it any shorter. However, if you've got A4, maybe you've got some small scrap pieces, you might have 8x8 sheets, you can have this project any length that you want, any width that you want. It's really easy to change those parts. So when you see me putting this together, you'll be able to adapt it to suit your needs. But I want this as long as I could get it without having to start patching kind of pieces on. So I'm going to have this full length, so A3 size. So what I've got first of all is, this is one of the A3 pieces. And on the reverse, I've used my T-square ruler, cutting knife, and a metal ruler. I've used this one actually because I prefer using this one when I'm using my cutting knife. Now this one I couldn't fit into my trimmer because it's obviously a lot longer. So with the ruler here, so if I just turn it this way, so you want to mark at 7 inches. So just mark 7 inches at the top here and 7 inches at the bottom. Try and get everything in here. Okay, so just 7 inches. And then using this, just pop it in. And because it's your T-square ruler, you know you've got a perfect straight line there. So just got a pen, pencil, and just draw down and then flip that. And then you can just join that up so you know you've got a perfect line. Then using my ruler, this one here, just pop it on there and cut. And now you want to make sure you've got a protective surface. I've already cut this, so I'm not going to cut it again, but make sure you've got something underneath, and then push this down and then push your knife into the metal ruler and then cut all the way down. You're just going to do it on one side, so you're cutting about halfway through, and you'll see there it's all broken and cut open this side, but it's still attached here. And then just fold this up And this is going to become the back, and all of this is the front of the desk caddy. Then what I've done is I've divided the 7-inch width here into 4 sections. Each section is 1 3/4 wide. So just use your ruler, pop it in here, and I've put a pencil line at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, and 5 1/4. And then again down here, 1 3/4, 3 1/2, and 5 1/4. Join them up using your ruler again, and these are going to be where I'm going to add my dividers, and then we're going to add more dividers this way. And to be honest, the amount of dividers you add this way is entirely up to you, because you can really kind of personalize this to the tools that you have. Then I've cut all of these pieces here, and these are going to go and stick onto each of these. Then we're going to add the sides, then we're going to add all of the dividers in the middle. So this is all the same length, so whatever length you're doing that yours, you want the length to be the same. So this is that A3 length, and then the height of this one is 4 3/4 or 12 centimeters. It's the same height of the back of this piece, and it's going to stick along that line there. So this back one is where I'm going to have my scissors, any heavier kind of bits and pieces, they're going to go all along the back here. And they, like I said, we're going to put dividers in here, but the space and where you put them is entirely up to you. The next one is this one here. This is where a lot of my kind of pens and smaller scissors are going to go in these sections. So this is 3 by the same length. Then next one down again is 1 1/2. And then the very front is, I thought it was 1, but this is 3/4, so it really doesn't matter. This is kind of like just the wall. It's the very front piece here. Now I wanted this to be short because in these ones I'm going to have like my couple of erasers, my embossing buddy, my glue eraser, all those kind of small things which I have in a drawer, but I'm constantly opening and closing, to just have those quick things to just grab in front of me. So I wanted a very low, almost like a tray running along here. Now I may not add dividers in this, it might just be a one long tray, and I can just pop lots of bits and pieces in there. So I'm just adding some glue all along the bottom here of this biggest piece. This is the Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. I haven't got any bookbinding glue left, but this should be fine. And I'm just going to run that along that back line, and I'm just going to hold that there for a minute until that's secured itself. Then I'm going to take the next one, stick it along here, and then do the same with this one, but leave the smallest piece, because we're going to stick that onto the front rather than on top of this piece. So you can see those 3 now, and then the back piece, but they're feeling quite strong actually. Now this one I'm going to stick to the front, so I'm going to add my glue now along this piece here, and then I'm just going to lay that down over the top, just hold it in place for a second, and then I just push that against itself, and then I'm just going to run some glue just right along that join, like so. I've got this little kind of silicone spatula, so I've just been using this just to kind of spread out any glue all along the side there. So I'm just going to leave all this for a minute now so it can completely dry. Okay, so whilst that's drying, I'm just cutting myself 2 pieces of 7 1/8 by 4 3/4, and these are going to be for the sides. So I just use my trimmer. This is the trimmer that I always use when I'm working with Greybeard, and I just use my old blades. Now that they're blunt and they're no good for paper or cardstock, they're perfect for Greybeard. So 2 pieces of 7 1/8 by 4 3/4. Or whatever the width and the height is of your side, because again yours might vary to how I've done mine. But I just cut it a couple of times on one side, and you can fold it if you haven't got this. It's got like a metal piece here, which is really good to line everything up, and then just flip it over and just cut again. So I've got my side pieces there. So I've already cut one of the sides to shape, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. I'm not going to give necessarily measurements. I'm just going to show you the process because I'm trying to make this as easy, not just for you watching, but for myself as well. I'm just having a bit of a chilled afternoon and I don't really want to have to think about the math too much. Get this piece here and it should fit the height and the width of the side of your caddy. Again, yours may be slightly different to mine. So you want to just measure this width and the height of your back piece and then just cut it into the rectangle shape. So when I put this against here, I've got my finger down in the back corner here. Make sure you get it nice and flush in that corner, and you want this to stick to the side of this piece here. Okay, so get the back nice and squared off there, and then the front, I can see there, lines up nicely. So what you could do is mark every 1 3/4 on here and do the lines just like you did on this base piece. And then all I did on the other side there is made sure I had this kind of where I need it, and then with a pen, again, make sure these are straight, but just put a little marker where that one is, then a little marker at the top of this piece, a little marker there on the next one, and then at the very end, and then just join them up. So it really is, you know, pretty straightforward. So let me just draw that over here. So there we go. So I can see my shape like so. So then I can just grab my ruler and just join up each part like this. Cut that out and then use that to just then draw around the opposite one, because I'd already done that one. I needed to just show you, but if I just sit that now over the top, it's pretty much there. I probably needed to push this back piece. It probably wasn't completely straight. So I'm going to draw around this one, but you can see otherwise I've got it pretty much where I need it to be. So I'm just going to redo that one there. But otherwise, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to follow this and then just move it with this shape there. Like so, and then I can just bend it, and I can see now, if you just go like this, get your pen and just draw down. I'm really just trying to make it as easy as possible. Once we start decorating this and all that stuff, you're going to hide all of this, so just make it as easy as possible for yourself. There we go. And then we can check this now again. So now I can line that one up with the top section just before it starts to fold down. That one hits perfectly there. I could probably come down a little bit there, so I'm going to take a little bit extra off, but it's perfect there. So just check it. I'm going to come in a little bit further here. Just pop that one back on there again, and I can see, yeah, that sits nicely. So next I'm going to add my glue. Can't come quite up to the camera there, but I'm going to add my glue down the side here, all down here, and down each of these, and just stick it on just like you've done these ones here. So you should now have something like this, and it's already feeling quite strong, but I need to now start to really strengthen these because they're kind of just tacked in place. I'm going to start bringing in the construction glue now. So this is the Collall clear all-purpose glue. I just decant mine into a Beacon 3-in-1 old bottle. Beacon 3-in-1's good as well. There's many other construction glues on the market, and you may have a different glue that you want to use, so whatever you like. And then I've just cut myself all these strips here, and I've just folded them in half, and I'm just going to run the glue along each side, because when this dries, it dries solid. Now you may want to do this as you stick each one of these down. You know, do whatever works best for you, because not everybody's going to be able to maybe reach inside these sections. But I'm just going to now pop that so the corner goes right into there. And you can use a ruler, you could use your, let me grab my bone folder here, and I'm just going to push it right up into the corners there. like so, and then just stick that to the side. I'm just pushing them in, make sure, what if I use this one here, there we go, I can get in there and spread that glue out as well. So this is just going to start to reinforce the sides. So I'm going to do this along here, on the outside, on each of these sides, and along the sides here. Basically every side, every kind of join, I'm going to cover this, and then we can do the dividers. Some of you might want to just keep it like this. You might have your maybe 6x6 pattern papers and maybe envelopes. You know, it could be a nice envelope storage kind of caddy as well. Also, you would have just seen me buffing up the edges here. So I just use an old nail file, and you can just go in here and you can just really smooth the sides there. You can see that's so much nicer, really smooth. So yeah, if you do have any kind of dodgy edges, maybe where you've cut it and you're not happy, just get yourself an old nail file, and it will also take away any pen marks that you've got. You can see I've got some pen mark there. If I just rub that, you can see it comes away straight away. So, but I'm not too worried about that because that's all going to get hidden anyway. So yeah, I'm just going to go over all of this now, and then I'll be back to add the dividers. So I've just reinforced all the sides, and I've just been playing around with my dividers. So I'm going to talk you through the measurements, and then when I've stuck all these in, I'm actually going to spray paint the whole thing with a white spray paint, and I'll show you the can. Now this one I've already stuck on the end, so that's where I want them, and I want to do them quite, each one I want to be quite small compartment size, because it's going to have the taller pieces. So for example, this ruler, you know, you don't want it to be too big a gap. So for example, if I just pop this one here, you know, if you were having a ruler in there, you can see it's going to slide right across like that. I want things to be quite upright. So this is where you can really customize it to the things that you have. You might have a notebook that you want to keep in here. I mean, I've got my big diary that would go in there, but you see you can have, you know, anything you want, and then put your next little divider there. So have a little play around, look at what you've got and how you want it to work for you. I've got my accent glaze there, I've got my other glues, my Collall bottle, I want all that to go in there. Then I've got my mini bottles which can go down here. So I'm going to give you the measurements for the dividers for each section, but the amounts is entirely up to you. So for the back, you're going to want to cut yourself pieces that are 1 5/8 of an inch by, it's just under 4 3/4. The best thing to do is measure your height. So put your ruler in here and then look at the side. It's actually bang on 12 centimeters. Okay, so if you want to do centimeters for the height there, rather than just do the just over 4, or just under, sorry, 4 3/4. And then again, you can measure your width here, which is 1 5/8 for me, but yours might be slightly wider, yours might be thinner. So just check what it is and then just cut them according. So I've got all of those pieces. I've done 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 for the back piece. Then for this one here, again, it's that same width, so just measure what you've got here. So it's the same width as those ones there. And then the height of this one is, oh, it's the same height. So it's the same as this again. All you're now doing is cutting an angle. Okay, so the angle for this, you want to mark with a pencil 2 7/8 of an inch up on one side, and then cut across. It's just the height of this next piece down here. So if I just pop my ruler in there, it's 2 7/8. Or again, if you're doing centimeters, then it's 7 1/2. Okay, so just measure each piece, and you'll see there when I put those ones in, you want them to wedge in so they kind of stand there on their own already. And then when I add the glue, I'm just going to push my sides together there. But you can see the end of that slope hits the height of this, and then the top of it's just there. I mean, you know, if you're a few mil out here and there, I really wouldn't worry about it. Like I said, I'm then going to spray the whole thing, and then I'm going to cover it with my pattern paper. So for that one, I had one, I think it's the same amount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. So I'm having them literally, you know, all in the same place. And then again, 7 pieces here of the same width, same height as this piece, is the back one. And then you're going to cut on a slope, so it's the height of this one. So here I've come up, it's 3.5 centimeters, which is 1 3/8 of an inch, and then just cut across. All these measurements will go onto my blog, but again, you can see there now when I wedge that one in, just lines up, and then we just squeeze that together. Like I said, I've really wedged them in. It's just going to keep it nice and strong. So I'm going to attach them exactly the same way as I did these first of all. So just use the glue, and then I'm going to cut strips, and I'm just going to reinforce all of the corners. So I'm going to pop all this on high speed because it's very repetitive. It's very easy to make this project, but it is going to take you some time. So I'd suggest maybe doing it over a couple of days, and you know, get all of the pieces cut and maybe just tacked into place like I've done. Then the next step, I would add all of these pieces, and then lastly we can add the pattern paper. Also, you might want to do, you know, I put this all together first because I just wanted to see how it was going to look, and then I'm doing all these sections. Some people might find that a little bit fiddly, hard to get your hand in. So because I've given you the measurements and you can see how you're doing it in this tutorial, I would suggest, you know, have the back piece and the base, so it was just folded up, and then add these first. So add these all along, then add this piece, then add all of these dividers all along, then add this piece, finish with these, add all those pieces, then add your sides. So then you can easily get your hands in and see each piece. But you can also do it this way as well. So see, you know, which way is going to work best for you. So it's now the next day and I've got quite a lot done. So I added all of the little strips that I showed you, and then I sprayed it. Just sprayed everything in a white. I wanted it to have a white base, so you can see the white there. And then I used my same glue, and I just put a thin bead of glue all along all of the edges, and I sprinkled it with a really lovely glitter. It's an Arteza glitter, and it's this one here, holographic silver. It's got all my favourite colours in, and you can see just how lovely. I haven't covered the side yet. Just how nice that looks. So if you want to cover all of those sides, then that's an easy way to do it. But I wanted to get all this dry because it was just going to take too long filming. It's really straightforward. Like I said, just run your glue along and sprinkle your glitter. But now I've got all these pieces to stick down. So I'm not going to give measurements for these. I'm just going to show you how to do yours, because everybody's everybody's compartments are going to be different. All of these side pieces here, so all these pieces that are going to cover each side of this, for me, are all the same. So I just measured here with inside here, and it's just over 1.5. And then I just measured how deep it is, and it's 4 3/4. So I cut myself however many I needed of that size to go on all the sides. Now the backs are slightly different because these two ends, this one and this one, they're smaller, but then these are all different sizes. So I know the height's the same, 4 3/4, but then I just went into each section and just saw that one there is just under 2 1/4. So I cut it according. And I've just popped them all in. And you know, you might need to trim little bits off, like slide it in. It might not go in properly, so just take a little bit more off and just do that. And then again, I work my way down. So I haven't done this side here because you don't see it, but I've done this front here. So I've got this pretty paper here. And then again for the side ones, just done the height. So work with the highest, which is 4 3/4, and then the width, which is 1 3/4. And then I just put it in there and I drew a pencil mark where this point is, and then I just cut across. So don't make it difficult for yourself. You don't need to start, you know, working out your angles and all that lot. Just get your pencil out and just do, you know, rough little kind of measurements. I haven't done the bottoms of these ones because they're going to be so full you're never going to see it, but these and these I think you will see. So I've just measured again the same, and I've got all them. None of this is stuck down. I'm going to speed it up in a minute and stick all that down. And then for the longer strips here, I've just got that pattern there. I'm just going to overlap it again. I'm not too worried that it doesn't join in terms of the print, because there's going to be stuff in here, and I'll just make sure that I've got something in front of the join so it doesn't bother me. But I'd soon forget, and it's quite a busy paper that you're not going to notice it straight away. And then for the very front, I think I'm going to put a washi tape. I've got some really nice colours, so I'm going to have a little look and see what I can do there. And then once I've stuck all this down, I'll show you how to do the side pieces, because I've already got one here. Basically just drew around it, popped it on its side and draw around, but that one's going to go on that side, and then I can do the other one there as well. So that's everything stuck down. Really pleased with it. It's so colourful and it matches perfectly with my craft room. And then when I was looking through my washi tape, I had this roll here, and the colours are perfect. It's exactly the same colours that I've used. Again, it's very much my style and just fits in really well. So I know this won't be everybody's cup of tea, but it's really strong. It's self-adhesive, but then I've added hot glue all underneath there as well, and I just trimmed it down to size. So I can't remember where I picked this one up. I want to say the Works. I think it was 1 metre, because it was that length, and then this bit here. So you can see the bit I've just trimmed off there. So yeah, really handy stuff. Some of you might have that hanging around, so that's what you can do with it. And then for the side pieces here, so I've got this piece here. So I've already done this one, cut it out, and literally all I did, I don't want to do the same end in case they're slightly different, but just lay this down and draw around it, and then when you cut it slightly smaller. So I'm going to do this one. If I come slightly off camera, just because I don't want to knock this here, but you can see I'm going to line up the corner with the bottom corner of this paper. But if I now come over this side, there we go, you can kind of see. So I'm just sitting it in the corner, and then I'm just going to draw around like so. And then when I cut this, I want to cut it smaller. So I'm going to come in about 1/8 of an inch to start with, and then I can always bring it in more if I need to. But because I've got that little glitter frame, I'm just following along. just remove that piece there and then see how that one's going to fit. It's pretty good. You can just about see that. I think I'm going to keep it around the top here because I like a little bit of the white showing. In fact, it is, yeah, it's pretty spot on. I think if anything, I just need to take a little bit off of the straight side and just a little bit down here, just so you can see a little bit of a white border and that glitter can just be kind of seen. So just take that off. Yeah, that's better. I know it's hard for you to see. You can just about make it out there. But that, I think, is going to be just right. So I'm going to stick both of those down and then I'll show you it all finished. So here's my finished desk organiser. So that's the sides all covered. You can just see that one there, and this end is really hard to get in shot because it's so long. And then I've covered the back there as well. It's solid. It is just the same strength as the shop brought ones, those, you know, the ones that you see. And I'm really pleased that I thoroughly enjoyed making this. And I finally got something that is going to just be so much more practical for me. I love what I have on my desk, but I'm forever trying to find stuff. So I have enough little sections now to be able to have, you know, all of my piercing pokey tools together, all of my rulers together. I've got little air, you know, spaces for my glue, so I can just find, there you go, it fits nicely in that one. It's just going to be so much easier when I'm doing my lives and also when I'm just filming the tutorials to just be able to grab everything. So I'm going to get this all filled up, take some photos and get this video edited, because I know there's going to be quite a few of you who are going to enjoy making these, and I just thought it's a nice one to share this time of year because it's always very quiet in January. And I know we, you know, sort out our craft room and, you know, reorganise things, and this might be something you want to make. So as always, thank you for watching. I will link as much of the product that I've used in the description box below. I'll pop a couple of other storage tutorials. They should be showing now, so you might want to go and watch those next. One of them will be the bureau. That's a really nice project. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you all again. Bye.